You ever read something and you just know there's more to it than what's on the page? Something deeper hiding beneath the surface. Well, today we're diving into a way of engaging with sacred texts that promises exactly that. A journey that takes you from the simple written letter all the way to profound personal light. Okay, let's get into it. And this right here, this quote just nails it. It's not just about reading words. It's about a journey of both the heart and the mind. It suggests that hidden, right there, between the verses, isn't just more information, but actual illumination, real light. All right, so to really get this, we have to start with a huge foundational idea from the source material. And it's this: the thought that our human existence, our reality, is created to be a kind of mirror, reflecting a knowledge that is eternal, perfect, and totally unchanging. And this is where it gets really interesting, because it splits into two, kind of like two different realms of knowing. So on one side, you have God's eternal knowledge. It's already complete, it's unchanging, and it exists in what the source calls the unseen. Then, on the other side, you have us, our human experience, and our lives are where that eternal knowledge shows up, where it becomes real. It's a becoming, something we witness through our own actions. This leads to a really crucial shift in how we think about things like divine trials. So when the Qur'an talks about being tested, the argument here is that it's not for God to find something out. I mean, he already knows. No, these experiences are for us. They're designed to show us our own true nature, to make us realize for ourselves what was already known in that unseen eternal realm. So when you look at it this way, life's challenges, they aren't about punishment, not at all. It's more like a purification process. They're a way of chipping away all the extra stuff so we can finally see and maybe return to that pure image of ourselves that God knew from the very beginning. Okay, so that's the big why, the whole philosophical backdrop. But what about the how? How do you actually engage with a text to make this kind of self-discovery happen? Well, the source lays out two very different paths you can take. And this question, right here, this is the fork in the road. It completely changes the game. Are you reading something just to gather information about the world out there? Or are you reading it to get a clearer picture of the world in here? So the first path is what's known as tafsir, or interpretation. You can think of this as the classic scholarly approach. It's all about explaining what the text means on the outside, the history, the grammar, the context. The main goal is to get clear answers and to build up a body of knowledge about the text. But then there's the second path, tadabbur, contemplation. And this is a whole different ballgame. This is a personal journey where the text basically becomes a mirror for your own consciousness. It's way less about finding the answers and way more about sparking the right questions inside yourself that lead to real insight. So let's just break this down side by side, because this is really the core of it all. Tafsir explains. It gives you answers. It focuses the external text, and the goal is to accumulate knowledge. Tadabbur, though, it reveals and asks questions. It focuses your inner self reflected in that mirror, and its goal is nothing less than the transformation of your consciousness. So you see the difference? One is about knowing the book. The other is about knowing yourself through the book. It's a huge distinction. Okay, I know what you might be thinking. Transformation of consciousness, that sounds pretty abstract, right? But what's so powerful here is that tadabbur isn't just some vague idea. It's actually a method, a structured process with steps you can follow. So, how's it work? It really boils down to three key steps. First, you just return to the text itself, the specific words, the structure, and you try to do it without all your preconceived notions. Second, you connect the verses. Any meaning you pull from one place has to harmonize with other parts. You're letting the scripture interpret itself, you know? And finally, step 3, this is the big one. You transform that knowledge into actual awareness. This is the leap from knowing about the word to knowing yourself in light of that word. That's the move from reading to insight. And that leap, that really gets us to the whole point of this journey. The final destination isn't what you might think. It's not about coming up with some clever new interpretation or collecting more facts. It's something way more profound. No, the real goal of tadabbur is a total paradigm shift. It's about reordering your entire consciousness, changing the very way you see the world. You move from just having information to having this deep-seated insight, what the source calls basira. It's a whole new way of being.
And there's this quote from the source material that just, wow, it sums it all up perfectly. Reading with your mind gets you knowledge, and that's important for sure. But engaging with it on the level of your soul, that's where you're born anew. It's the difference between learning something new and becoming someone new.
And just so you know, all these ideas we've been walking through today, they're drawn from the introduction to the work, Theological Contemplation from Letter to Light by Mohamed Farouk Yassin. It really provides a powerful framework for anyone who wants to go deeper on this. So I'll leave you with this thought to chew on. This whole approach, it pushes us past simple analysis, past just collecting information, and it asks a pretty radical question. What if the whole point of reading a sacred text wasn't just to understand it, but to let it completely transform you? What if a text wasn't just something you read, but something you become?